Welcome in, everyone, to Picks and Parlays Bettors Edge. It's Week 16 of the NFL. Pony is not joining us today, but I'm sure if you follow him on Twitter at the Pony Express, he will be having a ton of opinions about these games coming up. I'm sure he's going to be exploding on Twitter. So you have Hannah Mears and Craig Trapp here for you. We're looking for a bounce-back week, okay? We had a bad week last week. Yeah. I feel like this week's going to be better. Let's start with the Lions, a team that I didn't have confidence in last week, but maybe I should have. They needed that game. They needed to bounce back. They're now a 3-point favorite heading into Minnesota. The Vikings offense actually also, with Mullins at the helm, seemed to find a little bit of hope. Is it enough?
At home, that's the key here for the Vikings. The Vikings are a different team at home, have been that way since the Dome opened, a decade plus ago. I think this is a really tough spot for the Lions because they really, after that win last week, they kind of have things kind of secure. And I always like the desperate teams this time of year. The desperate team is the Vikings. The Vikings, were up that entire game against my Bengals, lose in overtime. The two chances to get it, third and inches, fourth and inches, they don't get it either way. I think this year this is a Vikings team that's desperate. Give me the desperate team at home in a division opponent. I think you know him well. I just think this is a really close game. Mullins was a little shaky at times, but he's a gunslinger, so he's gonna lay it out there. And the Lions aren't a team that gets a lot of turnovers, so I like the underdog Vikings here.
Yeah, the Lions defense has been a little bit disappointing at times this year, which is why I like the Vikings team total over 21.5. Like you said, Mullins is a gunslinger. They have the receivers that complement that quarterback very well, and you saw the impact of that with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Now, probably one of the most impactful wide receiver duos in the league. So as long as they have a good quarterback, and I think Mullins is doing enough to get them the ball. So I'm going to say Vikings team total over 21.5. The Lions also, all of their 6 last opponents have gone over this total. So the Lions defense, like we said, has been a little bit of a disappointment, and it's a surprise because we really had a lot of hopes, I think, especially for that pass rush this season, but it hasn't been there. I'll take the Vikings to put up some points at home over 21.5. Moving forward, Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. Jacksonville is a 1.5-point underdog heading into Tampa Bay. If we would have seen this line a few weeks ago, I think all of our heads would have exploded. We would have said there's no way in heck this happens. But Jacksonville got swept by the AFC North the past 3 games. So can they bounce back here? Are Baker and the Bucs too much for them to handle?
That win by Baker in Green Bay. Green Bay was a desperate team coming off an embarrassment on Monday night. And then you come home and lay an egg. And I don't know if it was an egg, to be honest. I think this is a dangerous Tampa Bay team that when they struggled, they were injured a bunch, especially on defense. Now they're getting healthy. This is a tough spot for Jacksonville when they kind of need it. I don't think it matters. This, Tampa Bay team's just playing too good right now. I'm going to take Tampa Bay minus 1.5. I mean, I think they're deserving favorite the way they've been playing. And I think they're going to win the South. And I thought no team in the NFC South would be plus 500. They're going to be above 500 if you look at their schedule. I think they'll take a good step with a nice win here and a cover.
Baker's making a great case for him down there right now.
The
Here's the thing, too. Lawrence's status is sort of up in the air. Will he play? Will he not? If he plays, I actually might like Jacksonville with the edge on the money line because of the desperation situation that they're in. So keep an eye on this. If you want to bet this game, I probably will not. I'm going to say if Lawrence plays, take Jacksonville on the money line. If he does not play, take Baker and the Bucs on the money line. I would say my stronger play probably would be, though, leaning with Tampa Bay in the money line. So if you like Baker and the Bucs and what they're doing, get this early because it's holding a lot of value because of the uncertainty of Trevor Lawrence. If he does play, I'm going to say that line's going to shift probably a little heavily in terms of getting good money value on the money line. So
I would say this. We've seen, though, this year, backup quarterbacks aren't the death of teams. So that is I almost worry.
But I think Trevor Lawrence is such an identity in Jacksonville.
Hasn't been. He's been he's had a couple games this year that's been good, but he's I won't say he's holding them back, but he still hasn't taken that next step. When he was drafted, people were thinking this is like the next, Luck, Peyton Manning type guy that you could build. He kind of hasn't done that. They've done good on defense for the most part, and they've ran the ball pretty well. But it's and I know Christian Kirk being out has definitely affected him.
Yeah, for sure. But Trevor Lawrence, if he does play in this game, to me, this is the game I'm saying we're either going to see him make a statement and be at the top, and that's where I'm sort of hoping and leaning my chips toward, but if not, it could spell trouble. New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are a 6.5 point favorite right now. I would love to hear Pony's opinion on the Patriots right now. When it comes to needing to figure things out, the Patriots are definitely in a hole. The Broncos need a bounce-back game for sure. The Patriots and Broncos both lost last week. Wilson and Zappi had similar QBRs, believe it or not. So never would I have thought that happens either. The total sitting at 34.5. Craig, I know we're on different sides of this, but here's my case for the over 34.5 in this game. And I know people are probably saying, Hannah, you're crazy, but the total is low, and I think it's because of obviously how poor the Patriots offense has been, but the Broncos defense is another disappointment this season. They're giving up close to the most points per game in the league this entire season, and they can put up over 21 points per game on New England because their defense has been struggling too. For as long as it's been their identity, it's starting to go down the drain this season. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and say the over 34.5. Go ahead, Craig, make a case for the under 34.5.
Let's just say this. This is not a good New England team. They're poor on offense. They lack stars. Tom Brady, he was always a star, but he always had good enough pieces around him where he could fit it in and get you. But their defense always had a couple guys that were budding superstars. They lack the superstars on both sides of the ball. They have to play conservatively now. This sounds like it's Bill Belichick's last go around, if you've listened to the people that know. I think this is a tough spot for Denver, to be very honest. I think it's going to be lower scoring. I think we've seen Russell Wilson and Sean Payton arguing on the sideline. They say it's no big deal. That's a big deal. You do not see great coaches and great quarterbacks get into it very often. So, I just think you take the under here. This screams like ugly 13-6, no touchdowns for the Patriots type game.
Could very well be, or this could be the spot where Russell Wilson says, all right, I need to get myself together here. We might need to score. Exactly. But if it comes to a quarterback and a coach arguing, I don't think anyone's, based off of what Sean Payton's history is this season and the comments he's made, I don't know if anyone's super surprised that he's arguing and putting stuff out there.
It almost is like he doesn't want Russell Wilson as I kind of thought they fixed things, and I thought, I don't know. It did not look like that last week. I think maybe Sean Payton's thinking on the sideline, maybe I go get one of these other young quarterbacks and we get rid of Russell Wilson here. So who knows?
Fair enough. Could be a lot of availability for Russ at this point in the league after the quarterbacks we've seen so far this season. This is Picks and Parlays Bettors Edge. For more, make sure you head over to that Picks and Parlays app and follow along with the Pony Express as well. I know he's got some opinions, especially when it comes to that Patriots game.
Yeah.